Progress check 3.1 Algebra. Question number 1. Write the following in its simplest form using algebraic notation. M times 4. So there are m lots of 4 or 4 lots of m. So we put the number first and then the letters. So it's 4 lots of m, and the shortest form is 4m. In the second question, we've got to write the following in their simplest form using algebraic notation again. So we've got p plus p plus p. So there are 3 lots of p. So we can imagine 3 presents, 3 identical presents. So there is p, another p, another p, 3 lots of them. In the third question, we have to write the following in the simplest form using algebraic notation again. So we have y times 1. So that means 1 lot of y. So I can write it as this. So the digit comes first and then the letter. But this is also the same as just saying y. When multiplying, the 1 in front can be removed, can be absent. So that would be the simplest form. In the fourth question, we have to simplify the following. So we have 8k minus k plus 5k. So we can imagine having 8 kiwis. So I can try to draw them. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 8 kiwis. Take away 1. So if I remove one of these, then I go back to 7. Then I'm going to add 5 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in total, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 kiwis. This could have been answered by ignoring the k's as well, because all 3 of them have k's after the numbers. And since this is minus k, it means minus 1 lot of k. So we can treat it as if it was 8 minus 1 plus 5. 8 minus 1 is 7, plus 5 is 12. Or if you want to do these 2 first, minus 1 plus 5 is 4. So positive 4, and the 8 we had in front. So 8 plus 4 equals 12 as well. So there are different ways you could have worked this out. Simplify the following. 5z minus 9z plus 3z. A similar question to the previous one. So the terms all have z in them. So we can treat this as being 5 minus 9 plus 3. 5 minus 9 is shown like this. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then we have under 0, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, and minus 5. So from 5, we take away 9, or we go down in 9 steps. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've gone to minus 4, and then add 3. So we go up from minus 4, 3 steps. So minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1. So this would be minus 1 z. So we add the z at the end. We can go a step further and write this as minus z or negative z, removing or leaving out the 1. In this question, we've got to simplify. So we've got 2y minus 4y minus 3y plus 8y. What we have to do is we're gonna ignore these y's for the time being and work with the numbers only. So this is a plus in front, plus 2, minus 4, minus 3, plus 8. So looking at a number line or referring to a number line, we've got 0, we have 1, and then 2. So underneath 0 we have minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, minus 6, minus 7, minus 8, and so on. So we're starting with positive 2. Then we're taking away 4 because the next number is telling us so. So from 2 we're going down. So take away means going down by 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've come now to minus 2. The next step is to take away 3. So we go another 3 steps down. 1, 2, 3. So we've gone to minus 5. Then we're going to go 8 steps up. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there is 3. Now we can put y next to it. And that is the answer. In the next question, we've got to factorize x squared plus 7x. Just to quickly recap, when we have a number in front of the bracket, then it goes so 2 lots of fish and chips, for example. This means that we get 2 lots of fish and 2 lots of chips. So reversing the process is factorizing. So there are 2 and 2 repeating themselves. So that would be in front of the bracket. And then we have fish plus chips. So that goes back to where we started. Now doing the example that we're given, we've got x squared, which is x times x, plus 7 times x. So what is repeating itself? I can see an x here and an x on the other side or the other term. So the one that repeats itself will go in front of the brackets. So I'll put x in front, and then what is remaining? We have an x here plus 7. Let's expand and see whether this gives us x squared plus 7x. So x times x is x squared, and x times 7 is 7x. So this was the right way to factorize this. Now we asked to factorize fully. We've got 5x squared minus 15x. So 5x squared I'll write as 5 times x times x, and minus 15x, which I'll write as 5 times x times 3, or 5 times 3 times x. So this means multiplication, the dot. So what do I have in common for these two terms? I have a 5 here and a 5 here. So I'll put that in front. But I also have an x. So I'll put that in front as well. Because by being in front of the bracket, it means that it's going to be part of both of the terms. Or I'm going to multiply both of the terms inside with it. So I only put it once in front. Now what is left? There is an x. So I'll put that x here. We've got a minus and we've got a 3. So 5x times x minus 3. Let's check that we've got it right. So we go 5x times x, that is 5x squared, and 5x times minus 3 is minus 15x. So that does come back to what we started with. So this is the correct answer. In question number 9, we have, given y is equal to minus 3x plus 7, work out the value of y when x is equal to 4. So what this means is that we've got to replace x with this value, which is 4. Because what we have here is just an equation which gives us the value of y if we write down the value of x. So for any value, that should give us the value of y. So I'll rewrite it. Y is equal to minus 3x plus 7. So x in fact is 4 in this case, so I'll rewrite it again. Y is equal to minus 3 times 4 plus 7. So I put 4 because the value of x is 4. So y is going to be equal to minus 3 times 4 is minus 12 plus 7. So y is equal to minus 12 plus 7. So thinking of the number line, here is 0 and there is minus 12. So if I go 7 steps up, because this is telling me that I'm adding or going up, so I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So taking away 7 from the 12 is going to be 5. So this is minus 5. You can also link this to money. So if you were £12 overdraft and then you added £7 to your account, what would your balance be then? And you'd be minus 5 or £5 overdraft. In this question we have, here are the first 5 terms of an arithmetic sequence, minus 3, 1, 5, 9, 13. Find in terms of n an expression for the nth term of this sequence. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use another example, a simpler one, to help us work out how to find the nth term of the sequence, and then we'll come back to this example. So let's suppose we have this sequence which goes 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, and so on. So what I'm showing here is the fees that you'd have to pay for using a taxi service. So there is an upfront fee that you have to pay no matter how long your journey is, and then you'd have to pay a certain fee per mile. So if I am to graph this very quickly, it's going to look like this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So this would be the number of miles. And here would show 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This would be the fee in pounds. So this is the first term. So the first number you can see in the sequence. That's the second, that's the third. So for 1 mile, I'd have to pay £3. So there is the number of miles. There is 1, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. So for 1 mile, £3. For 2 miles, £5. So 2, that's going to be here. For 3 miles, £7. For 4 miles, it's going to be 9. For 5 miles, it's going to be 11. So I've plotted these points, and you can see clearly how much I'm paying per each extra mile. So from the first mile to the second mile, I paid £2 extra. Same thing from the second to the third, I paid £2 extra. From the 3rd to the 4th, again £2 extra. From the 4th to the 5th, again 2. So that kind of tells me that I'm paying £2 per mile. And that is what we also call the gradient. So that's going from 3, 5 to 7, 9, 11, and so on. You can see the line. So that is £2 per mile. So it really depends on how many miles I'm traveling. So if I denote the miles by m, for example, I'd have 2m. So the fee would be worked out by multiplying the £2 by the number of miles that I'd be traveling. But what is the fixed fee that I'm paying up front? What is the booking fee? How can I work it out? So for the first mile, I'm paying the fee per mile and the upfront fee as well. So, and that combined is £3. But what did we say? The actual fee per mile was £2. So if I reverse this process and take away 2, it's going to give me 1. So 1 plus 2 gives me 3. The pattern continues in there. And this tells me that the fee that I'm paying front is £1. So this is going to go over to the 1 here. So the fee is equal to 2m plus 1. That's what we also call the y-intercept. You can also write the same thing as y, because the fee is shown on the y-axis, is equal to 2x, because the miles are on the x-axis, plus 1. So this has the form of mx plus c, if you've come across it before. So how are we going to do this now with the example that we have? Because we have -3, 1, 5, 9, 13. So let's see what's happening from one term to the other. What are we adding or taking away? So to go from -3 to 1, we add in 4. From 1 to 5, we add in 4. From 5 to 9, we add in 4. From 9 to 13, we add in 4. So that kind of fee per mile, that constant value is 4. And since we need to express this in terms of n, I'm going to write 4n, not 4m or 4x. So that is 4n. Now we need to find what is that fixed fee or that initial value or the y-intercept. And how did we do it in the previous example? Is by going back a step. So what is that number which I can add 4 to it, and it's going to give me -3. In other words, I can do -3, take away 4. So thinking of being £3 overdraft, withdrawing another £4, that's going to mean that I'll be £7 overdraft. So -7 is the number that we're after. So I'm going to plug that in here. So this is the expression for the nth term of the sequence, 4n minus 7. That first part of it comes from the number we adding on or taking away from one term to the other. And this is coming from reversing the process, so going one step back and putting that value in there. which in this case is minus 7. So this type of sequence that we just looked at is called an arithmetic sequence. We add in the same amount each time, or we're taking away the same amount each time from one term to the other. There is another type of sequence which is called the geometric sequence, which means multiplying or dividing each time. There are also quadratic sequences, but there are some special types of sequences such as the Fibonacci sequence. How Fibonacci sequences work is that the next term is worked out by adding the previous two terms. So as you can see, in this next question we have 1 and 1, which gives us 2. Then we have 1 and 2, which gives us 3. 2 and 3 equals 5. 3 and 5 equals 8. 5 and 8 equals 13. So we call this special type of sequence Fibonacci. You're not required to work out the nth term of this, but you should be aware that when you add the previous two terms to work out the next term, that's what we call a Fibonacci sequence. In this question we have minus 4m, open bracket, 4m minus 2n, close bracket, is simplified as 16m minus 8n. So we've got to work out whether this is true or false. So first of all, I'd like to say that when there is no multiplication sign or there is a term in front of a bracket, it means multiplication. So we're multiplying minus 4m by each of the two terms inside it, which is 4m and minus 2n. So I'm going to just circle them, the terms, to help us with the process. So as you can see, the terms attract the signs that they have in front. So either positive or negative, we've got to work them out with the signs. So we've got the brackets in here. As before with the fish and chip example, we're going to multiply that term that is in front of the bracket by each and every one of these two terms inside the brackets. So the first one is minus 4m times 4m. So I'd like to start by multiplying the signs in front of them. So we have a negative 4m, so that's a negative sign, multiplied by 4m, which is positive. So multiplying a negative and a positive means that the sign in front will be negative. Then I'm going to multiply the two digits, two numbers in front of these. So 4 and 4, which gives us 16. And then m times m gives us m squared. Now I'm going to do minus 4m times minus 2n. Minus and minus multiplied together, they give us positive, plus. So two signs that are the same, when they multiply, that give us a positive sign, or a plus. Then we've got 4 times 2, which is 6, and we have m times n, which gives us mn. So let's see whether this matches what we have here. This is just 16m minus 8n, so that suggests that it's not true. It's actually false. Expand and simplify. 5, open bracket, 4x minus 3y, close bracket, minus 4, open bracket, 3x minus 4y, close bracket. So I'm going to treat this as two parts. So I'm going to first do the first part. So multiplying 5 with 4x and multiplying 5 then by minus 3y. So 5 times 4 is 20. They're both positive, so we don't need to worry about signs. And then we have x. So we need to add the x as well. Then we've got 5 times minus 3, which is minus 15. Add in the y as well. Then we go to minus 4 times 3x. So minus 4 times 3 is minus 12. Put in the x in as well. Minus 4 times minus 4 is plus 16. Add in the y. Now we can simplify this further because we have x is here and x is here. So there is no sign in front of 20, which in fact means it's a positive. So having 20 take away 12, that gives us 8, lots of x, because it's 12 minus 12x. So we can imagine having 20 boxes that have the same content inside, and if you remove 12 of those boxes, you'll be left with 8 boxes. Now we have the y's, so minus 15y plus 16y. So minus 15, so being £15 overdraft, and then topping your account up with £16, that's going to mean that you're going to be having £1 in your account. So that means plus 1y, which is the same as 8x plus y. So this is the simplest form. Then we have 2x minus 5 multiplied by x plus 3 is expanded and simplified as which one of these? So I can use different ways of working this out. I can split this into terms. So I will do each and every one of these terms within the first bracket, set of brackets, to be multiplied with each and every term within the second set of brackets. So that means taking 2x and multiplying by x, and then taking 2x and multiplying by positive 3, and then taking minus 5 to multiply by x, and minus 5 to multiply with 3. So 2x times x is equal to 2x squared. 2x times 3 is equal to 6x. Minus 5 times x is minus 5x, and minus 5 times 3 is minus 15. We can collect the like terms in here. So this would make plus 6x minus 5x is the same as plus 6 minus 5, which leaves us with one lot of x. So I can rewrite this as 2x squared plus x minus 15. And that seems to be option E. In this next question, we have to make C the subject of the formula. So I'm going to rewrite this as f is equal to 9 over 5c, or 9/5 of c plus 32. Now, normally, when we work out something that involves BIDMAS, we do the division and multiplication first, and then addition and subtraction. In algebra, because we want to go back to work out what the value of the letter is, we need to do the opposite. So the first step that you do would be to do the subtraction or addition, and then the multiplication or division. And it's always the opposite of whatever you've done in the first step. So to work out the number of degrees in Fahrenheit, you'd need to multiply the number of degrees in Celsius by 9/5, or work out 9/5 of the number of degrees in Celsius, in other words, and then add 32 degrees. So now what we're going to do is reverse that process. So the last bit was to add 32, but we're going to take away 32. And we need to do it both sides in order for the equation to remain balanced, so both of the sides would be equal. So to get rid of the 32, or positive 32, we need to take away 32 from both sides. So I'll do that in red. So take away 32, and we'll take away 32 on this side as well. So this means now that on this side we'd have f minus 32, and on the other side we'd still have 9/5c, but plus 32 and minus 32 would cancel each other out. So if I add 32 pounds to my account and then take away 32 pounds, it leaves me with nothing. So nothing has changed. So what we have now is f minus 32 equals 9/5 of c. What we want to do is to make c the subject. So that means that I want to have just c in its own on one of these sides. So I need to get rid of 9/5. So c has been multiplied by 9/5, 9 divided by 5. And I suggest here that we actually convert this into a decimal. So 9 divided by 5 would give us 1.8. So this is the same as saying 1.8c. So f minus 32 is equal to 1.8 times c. So we multiplied c by 1.8. In order to get rid of it, we're going to have to divide by 1.8. So if I divide both sides by 1.8, I'm going to have, on this side, I'm going to have f minus 32 all divided by 1.8, and on this side times 1.8 divided by 1.8 is going to cancel them each other out. So we'd have just c in its own, and this is what we need. So c is equal to f minus 32 all divided by 1.8. If you kept the fraction instead, so this would be written as f minus 32 divided by 9/5. So we know that when we divide fractions, we'd have to flip the second fraction. So this would be f minus 32 over 1 times 5/9. So you can write this as 5/9 times f minus 32, or you can write it as 5 times f minus 32 all over 9. All of these are different possibilities, options or answers. Next question we have, the width of a rectangle is x centimeters. The length of the rectangle is 2x minus 3 centimeters. Find an expression in terms of x for the perimeter of the rectangle. So perimeter is about the rim going around. Give your answer in its simplest form. So since this is a rectangle, this length here is the same as this one here. So this is going to be 2x minus 3 as well. And the width is x, so this width here as well is x. So we're going to go around, so I'm going to collect these as I go around. So x plus 2x minus 3 plus x plus 2x minus 3. So we have an x here plus 2x plus x plus 2x, which add to 6x. Then we have minus 3 minus 3. So that is minus 6. So 6x minus 6 is the answer. We have to write down the coordinates of the midpoint of the line AB. So there is the line AB. So to get from A to B, we moved 1, 2, 3, 4 squares to the right. So we'll go halfway through this, which is 2. So 1, 2. And we've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares up. So halfway through is just 3. So 1, 2, 3, because 3 is half of 6. So that's the midpoint. What are the coordinates? So x is 7, y is 5. 7, 5. This question we have to complete the table of values for y equals 3x minus 2. When x is equal to minus 2, what is the value of y? So what we're going to do is going to rewrite this for x being equal to minus 2. So y is equal to 3 times minus 2 minus 2. So just replacing x with minus 2. So y is equal to 3 times minus 2 is minus 6 minus 2. Minus 6 minus 2 is equal to minus 8. So the value of y is minus 8 when x is equal to minus 2. Now when x is equal to 1, what's the value of y? So rewriting the equation, y is equal to 3x minus 2, y is equal to 3 times 1 minus 2, 3 times 1 is 3, minus 2 is 1. So y is equal to 1 in this case. When y is equal to 8, what's the value of x? So y is equal to 3x minus 2. So y is 8 now. We need to find the value of x. So 8 is equal to 3x minus 2. So we need to get rid of minus 2. So we're going to do the opposite, adding to both sides. So if I add 2 to the 8, that's going to give us 10. And adding 2 to the other side of the equation just leaves me with 3x. We'll need to divide both sides by 3. So x is going to be equal to 10 divided by 3. And you can leave it in this form. What is the value of x when 7 is equal to 3x minus 2? So as you can see, the value of 7 is for y. So 7 is equal to 3x minus 2. How do I know that? Because this is exactly the same as this equation here. What's changing is that there is a given value for y, which happens to be 7. So we've got to work out the value of x. So that means now we need to add to both sides. So this becomes 9. 9 is equal to 3x. So x must be equal to 9 divided by 3, which is 3. So x is equal to 3. We now have to find the gradient of the line. Gradient is the slope. Another word for it is steepness. So the steeper a line is, the higher the gradient. The shallower is, the lower is the gradient. How do we work out the gradient? I'll use this example. So if we're thinking of a hill, so I've projected the steepness of two different hills, and moving just 1 meter, for example, across, how high would you go if you were walking up this hill? And how high would you go if you're walking up this other hill? So just 1 meter here and 1 meter there. Probably you're going 1 meter up here, but you might be going 2 meters up in this other hill. So the gradient for this one is 1 over 1, which gives us 1. So you go 1 meter up for 1 meter across. Whereas in this other one, you'd go 2 meters up for 1 that you go across. So that gives us a gradient of 2. So going back to the graph is this method of working out. So for 1 unit that you go across, how high are you going? How many units you going up? So, or down in other cases. So you're going 2 for just 1 here. So that is 2 out of 1, which is equal to 2. So the gradient is 2 in this case. You could work this out in any part of the graph where you can create a triangle. So here, for example, again, you'd give us the same answer. So you're going 2 units up for 1 across, so 2 over 1, which is 2. Avoid doing it on these kind of points that are not in the corners of the squares, because then you can't be sure whether you're going a unit up or across. Could be half, could be a quarter, 3/4. So try and avoid that. Sometimes it's clear, but sometimes it's not, so avoid it. The diagram shows the graph of y equals x squared minus 8x plus 12. For any value of x, this should help us work out the value of y. So what we have to do is to use the graph to find estimates for the solutions of x squared minus 8x plus 12 equals 0. If I compare this with this, they are identical, but the only thing that changes is what they are equal to. And in this case, it's 0. So I can rewrite this as 0 is equal to x squared minus 8x plus 12. So this is telling me that y is equal to 0 in this case. So when is y equal to 0? It is on the x-axis. And which points are those that meet the x-axis? It's these two. And what is x equal to in these particular cases? We've got a 6 here, and we've got a 2 over here. So x is equal to 2 and x is equal to 6. These are the two solutions for this graph. How can we check that we've got them right? 2 times 6 is equal to 12. is also the y-intercept for the graph. The midpoint for A and B is at -2, 4. The coordinates of A are -6, -1. Work out the coordinates of B. So we've got 2 points, A and B. I know that A is here and B is there because if I look at the coordinates, we've got smaller numbers for the coordinates of A. So -6, -1, whereas for B it's -2, 4. I'm going to add the coordinates in. So we've got -6, -1, and midpoint has coordinates of -2, 4. So to get from A to the midpoint, we've moved 4 units across because we've gone from -6 to -2. So that's the value of x. So that means now we're going to move a further 4 units across to get to B. So this is going to be -2 at 4, which gives us 2. So the x coordinate of B is 2. Now we'll see what's happened going from A to B. How many units have we moved up? So to go from A to the midpoint first, we've gone from -1 to 4. So that is 5 units. And we'll do the same to move from the midpoint to B, which is adding on another 5 units. So add 5 to 4, that gives us 9. So the coordinates of B are 2, 9. If you'd like to try this yourself because perhaps you're not clear enough, then use some graph paper and plot these points exactly on the graph, and you'll see what this means to move 4 units across and 5 units up.